Hey, MCE crew, let's talk about the fact that Bitcoin just became a whole lot more credible and viable. And we'll talk about the reasons for that, why that happened in just a second. But as you know, I have not adopted crypto in my portfolio as of yet. I've talked about the reasons for that. Number one was that I didn't yet understand how these governments that have central banks, were going to coexist, how they were going to have their fiat currencies coexist in a world with crypto. Let's just be honest about it. When we look at, let's see, Central Bank of China or the Federal Reserve Bank here in America, these central banks are backed up by the force of the government. Even though in America, our central bank is not technically a government entity. Okay, it's not federal. It has no reserves, and it's not a bank. Okay, wow, what a con job. Anyway, they're backed up with military force, the right for the DOJ and the FBI to come in and kick your door down and demand paperwork, and the IRS to demand taxation. These central bank digital currencies they have that force behind them. So the jury's still out, as far as I'm concerned, on whether or not or how this will be resolved. I do think cryptos are here to stay, but I do have a question about how that piece of it is going to be resolved. Now, I had an issue with the fact that I didn't know what it was backed by, but I resolved that issue when I started thinking about, well, hell, the United States dollar is only backed by the ability of the United States government to tax the people. Still a question for me as to where Bitcoin derives its value from. And the last issue that really vexed me was the fact that I didn't see it being used as a unit of exchange when I go to the grocery store. Of course, I have several different payment options. Bitcoin wasn't one of them. When I paid my cell phone bill, Bitcoin was not an option. Okay, when I go to the gas station, at least the ones I go to, not an option. However, that may be changing, because the second largest mortgage holder in the nation, second largest mortgage lender in the nation, has started accepting Bitcoin. And we also know companies like Elon Musk's Tesla. Elon said he was going to have work his way into accepting Bitcoin for Tesla. Now, before I get into this and show you how the second largest U.S. mortgage lender is going to accept payment in Bitcoin, I do have another concern. And I'm putting this out there because I'm going to tell you right now, I am not an authority on crypto. Nowhere near it, okay? So I want the audience to weigh in here, and if you've got some tips or some different pointers or resources, I'd love to avail myself of that. Because the other issue I have with Bitcoin is its volatility. Now, it has these wild price swings, which would make me very reluctant to accept it as a form of payment. Because let's say you come to me and you want to buy a service from me. And at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we make that transaction happen. I sell you whatever it is, the service, and you purchase it with Bitcoin. And then 2 hours later, Bitcoin drops by 5%. Okay. Well, then I just discounted, I just realized the discount in my service if I haven't been able to convert that Bitcoin to something more stable. And the inverse is also true. If the value of Bitcoin goes up after you purchase the service, then you have actually paid me more than you had to. Okay, so that's another concern of mine. I'm looking for people to, weigh in, and let's talk about it. All right, but look, second largest mortgage lender in the United States is accepting Bitcoin. So let's dig into this and find out what's going on. Like, subscribe, share. Several years ago, the prevailing bear case against Bitcoin was that there simply was no use for the digital currency. One can buy up all of it, but besides selling to a greater fool, that's their words, not mine, there was simply no other use for the digital token. Since then, things have changed a lot. Not only is institutional adoption now rampant with corporations and asset managers loading up, but increasingly merchants are bracing for the inevitable popular adoption of cryptos as a payment mechanism, with both Walmart and Amazon quietly building out an internal infrastructure to accept and transact in various cryptocurrencies, so not just Bitcoin. And soon Americans will be able to pay down their mortgage debt in Bitcoin first and other cryptos later. Last week, United Wholesale Mortgage, second largest mortgage lender in the U.S., announced it was planning to accept Bitcoin for home loans in 3Q21, third quarter, starting in October of this year, in other words. And they're evaluating accepting other cryptos as well. The revelation that United Wholesale Mortgage will start taking crypto payments sometime in Q3 was made during its earnings call last week. The company said it would start taking Bitcoin payments first and is researching and considering the other options. And that's coming from Matt Ishbia, who is the CEO over there. All right, so this leads me to believe also that they believe the value of Bitcoin is going to go up generally, because there's no way they would be doing this if they thought it was headed in the opposite direction. So they have apparently spent some money on trying to figure out the future of crypto, the future of Bitcoin, and have surmised, maybe they use Palantir, I don't know. Is that worthy of Doom Charlotte putting something in the comments? We'll see. They have obviously taken a look at this and said that down the road, we think after all the regulation and all that is, figured out, we think that this is going to be a viable source of payment or a viable unit of exchange going forward. All right, the company, which emerged as a result of a SPAC merger in January, is not directly connected to customers. Okay, this is important. Instead, it uses brokers to link customers and loans. According to Bitcoin.com, the company didn't explain if the cryptocurrency received would be kept as such or exchanged for fiat money. Good question. How much you want to bet they probably will hold on to at least some of it? If the company manages to achieve its goal, we might see mortgages paid in crypto before the end of this year. The cryptocurrency payment space has been warming up all this year due to heightened interest in digital assets. In March, one of the biggest payment processors, PayPal, introduced a new feature called Checkout with Crypto, which enables users to pay with cryptocurrency in millions of online stores. However, there is still a roadblock for the adoption of crypto payments in the U.S. Crypto can be considered property in the country, and paying with crypto can be considered a sale. That means that depending on the buying price, crypto holders might have to pay capital gains taxes even when using Bitcoin to pay for their mortgage loans. Okay, so that might complicate matters a little bit. We'll see how it shakes out. All right, so we ended up with this. In other countries with less stringent regulation, crypto is already used for real estate payments. As Bitcoin.com notes, this is the case in Venezuela, which recently recorded one of its first public sales and a property paid for with crypto. Now, I think this adoption of crypto also is going to hasten the lack of or the loss of supremacy in the dollar as reserve currency for the world. We're seeing a lot of these cryptos. That's the other thing I don't quite get is there are a lot of cryptos. Okay, Bitcoin is by far the most prominent one. That's the one with the name recognition, but there are others as well. So how does that shake out? I guess there would have to be some conversion mechanisms out there that if I have this coin and you have that coin, we need to be able to sync that up and exchange, have some sort of exchange rate. And I'm sure they have that. Okay, I just don't know about it. This payment method is said to have many advantages, such as not depending on the approval of banks. Now, having said that, I want to get to another little piece of news here really quickly about banks and crypto. because they're not taking this crypto thing very well. All right, I'm going to link to both of these articles, but it looks like the cryptocurrency firms are really pushing for access to federal payment systems that are going to make their cryptos a lot more user-friendly and accessible to people. And the banks ain't having it. The cryptocurrency companies want to tap into the Federal Reserve payment system that traditional banks use to move money around quickly. The banks are pushing back. The companies include Avante Bank, which aims to provide custody services for institutional investors in cryptocurrencies, and Kraken, a cryptocurrency exchange platform. They say direct access to the Fed's payment systems would allow them to more quickly and cheaply process orders from customers buying and selling digital assets. Currently, they must partner with traditional banks and have accounts with the Fed. Okay, so the banks don't want to lose that relationship, because I'm sure they're not allowing these crypto firms to do this for free when they come under the auspices of that bank to gain access to the Fed. Okay, and the cryptos are really pushing for it, and they got some decent lobbyists. Okay, they just pushed back on part of this crypto taxation scheme that was in the infrastructure bill. So they know how to talk to DC and get things done. So the banks don't like it. The banks are saying that, oh well, if you allow these guys to do that, it's going to be a mess, and they're not held to the same money laundering standards that we are. And some of these companies are pushing back and saying, yeah, we are held to those standards as well. We're not going to go out there and put our entire business in jeopardy by participating in money laundering. God knows where the money is going. International drug firms, human trafficking, terrorism. Okay, what company would knowingly risk doing that? And why wouldn't you have those money laundering types of protections in place for your clientele and for your company and for your shareholders, even if it was not mandated? So they're saying, a lot of them are saying, we do have those in place, banks. What the hell are you talking about? So the banks are mad. The banks are in danger of, losing a very exclusive relationship that they have with the Fed right now. So we'll see what happens with that. But these two developments really are shaking out to make crypto more credible, more viable. I still have questions. Okay, so you guys get in the comments if you would, please. And if you can help me answer some of them, I will be forever grateful. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon.